What's up, fellas? Welcome to another game making tutorial with Servi. In the last video, let's see what we did. So we're gonna, if you remember, we open our index HTML file in a live server, and then we'll move this out of the way so you can see. And here's our program, our little game. Got our green container and our little guy here that has an image that we made, and he's made out of a box. If we want to look and inspect here, right here we have our character box div. Okay, and he's got this image source, and if we hit WASD here, his position is going to shift around the box until if he hits a top of 0%, he can't move. All right, or if he hits any of these boundaries here, if he hits a left of, I believe, 90%, he'll get stuck. Yep, and so he's stuck in the box forever. Oh no. If we let go of the key, he stops moving. So what are our errors here? Some errors? I see 3 errors. Oh, hang on, I'm displaying all of these events. Okay, this is here. Let me rerun my program. Let's do a little debugging together, okay? So, first and foremost, we're going to delete this. Let's Control F for show. Because show is mostly to debug and to test features. You don't really want people to be looking at the console for anything built into the game. But anyway, nothing's being shown here now, and we have no errors yet, but I assume as we get moving here, maybe we'll get some errors. Oh, we're still showing stuff we don't want to show. Is it when we crash in the wall we get an error? I don't know what that error is all about. We'll try to figure it out if it gives us problems later, but it's a little intro into debugging. Oh yeah, let's get rid of this other show. All right, without further ado, let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is going to be objects and classes. So what is an object in code? Well, first let's kind of review what is a variable. So we have different types of variables here. This would be a number variable, so either an integer or a float. But within JavaScript, you just use let for everything. So it's green because it's a number. And this is a Boolean variable, the true or false. It's going to show up kind of dark blue like this, basically same color as in here. I think you can toggle all this API stuff, application programming interface, to make the text different colors and stuff, but I'd watch separate videos on all those topics because I'm no expert. Anyway, what is an object? Let's say we have all these variables here, and we don't like just listing them all individually. We want to group them together and organize them a little better. Does that make sense? So there's different ways to organize your variables. Let's start with a simpler way. That's not quite an object, but start with an array, okay? And I'm kind of glossing over arrays. It's a whole big subject. It's a lot more complicated in other languages like C++ and stuff. But we're just going to make a list here of keys down, right? And the way you make a list is with brackets like that. And then what we can actually do is open up. You don't have to open it up, but I like to. And then you can start throwing variables in here. So we could put A down, W down, D down, D down, and S down. So now this is going to be a list of 4 Boolean variables. And we'll be able to access them all, and I'll show you how to do that. So when we access A down, like right here, instead of, because our goal is to eliminate all these and just keep keys down. But for now, we'll do this, keys down, number, and you're going to want to use the same brackets here to refer. If you want to refer to a specific item in the list, like the first one there, like A down, which is what we want, we'll use 0. Why 0? All of these indexing starts at 0. I'm not exactly sure why. It's something to do with something, but a lot of indexing starts at 0. In some languages it does start at 1, so be careful, like in MATLAB, I think. But we're going to go keys down 0 and see if anything changes here. So keys down, that's going to be A down. Okay, so can I use A still to move to the left? Let me run my program. And I'm pressing A and nothing's happening. I press W, something does happen. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, what's going on here? So here's the problem. When I trigger When I trigger, where is it? My actual controls. Okay, so when I trigger keys down 0 to be true, and this gets into kind of the crux of like the complicatedness. So if you can understand this and what's going on wrong here, you'll understand a lot of coding. So we have this list here, keys down, right? What we're actually doing in the memory is we're allocating a new spot, a new address for this memory here in this new variable, keys down, okay? And when we assign something simple, like in the simplest form, a primitive type, like a Boolean, a number, a string, if we assign that to one of the list items here, like keys down 0 is going to be A down, we are writing that memory to whatever is written for A, right? The problem is we're not actually moving the address of A. So what we'd really do is we have a copy of A down, which is false, at this address, whatever it allocated for this. And then we have another copy of the same number, whatever it was here, it gets assigned to be false, right? But when we refer to A down again later, it's a completely different thing. It's basically just, it signed its name, you know, it copied itself. It's not the same thing. If I change the copy, it's not going to go back and change A down, okay? So that's why we need to eliminate A down altogether. Change this to false. And anywhere we see A down, we need to replace it with this keys down 0. So that we can make what's known as a deep copy of a variable because a lot of times you actually want to achieve this effect and it doesn't work. Because if you assign, let's say we have keys down as its own array, and then we make another array of all of a bunch of different arrays, I mean, it would get stupid. You wouldn't want to do something like that. But let's say we had, you know, keys down, buttons pressed, right? And then we have a bigger array called controls. And the first item is keys down, and the second item is buttons pressed. Well, if we change anything in keys down, then the original keys down, it will change the one that's in the list because it's not actually copying that object into that array or that array into that array or that object into that object. It's simply putting the address of it so that it can access it. So they're all accessing the same thing. But if you use a primitive, it's not going to copy the address. It's just going to copy the data. So true or false, a number or a string. In any case, this should work now because we're referring to A down as, we don't have any more A downs, right? Yep. It's just keys down 0, which represents the A key. Now, if we move this, you can see when I press A, I can move to the left again. All right. Let's do this with all of the other keys. Boop. So this entire keys down thing is just false, 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 false. All right, but this is representing the A key, the W key, the S key, and the D key. So as long as any time that we refer to it, and what we can actually do here is start to use comments in the code. A, W, D, S for the order of these keys. All right, and then anytime, let's go ahead and just shortcut this. We're going to go whoop, whoop, and boop, and change these addresses to 1. So 1 will be the second item in the list, or the W key. 2 will be the third. 3 will be the fourth, because you're starting at 0. So always got to offset by 1 if you're thinking about it like that. All right, same thing here. Boop, boop. And a lot of coding is copy pasting one structure and then editing it to fit another one. You can also write yourself structures that apply kind of in different ways. That's what writing functions is all about. So do we have anything besides, so we have keys down, but we don't have any W, oh, here we go. Still have it here. Keys down 1. Oh, not a 1. You'd think I'd be better at typing by now from coding this long. All right, so now we have put all our keys in this array. And we didn't need all 4 variables. We only need 1, and all our keys still work. Oh, sorry. You guys can't see. Hooray, all our keys still work. We can move left, right, up, down, and in a circle. Okay. So that's not the point of this episode, right? Arrays, that's not the point. The point of this episode is objects. So a little bit better way to do this so that we don't have to keep this little key here, AWSD, and constantly be referring to it and confusing ourselves. We want to give a little bit more meaning to each list item other than just its address, right? So we can make an object with unique properties, and each property is its own thing with its own specific, type and everything. So in order to make an object, you say let keys down equal, instead of the straight brackets like that, you use the curly brackets, so press the shift key. And in JavaScript, now we have made an object as no properties yet. So we're going to add some properties to it. So let's add a, and we'll call it false. And this is the format. You do the property name, colon, the property value, which here is false, and then a comma for the next list item. So this is saying D false and S false. Okay. So if we go ahead and run this and try to play, there's going to be obvious errors. Wait, what? Did that work? Wait, is this still live? Hold on. Save. It's saved. Oh, does it still work? Yeah, it does. And that's because there just seems to be, I think that you can use this indexing here. You wouldn't normally do it like this, but you can use this indexing if you know the order of the properties, like up here. Then you can use this indexing. The problem is properties can get out of order very quickly. So if you want to more specifically refer to it, we'll use keys down dot a, and that will always give us a, regardless of where it's at. And so this shouldn't change anything. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, you know what? I see what's actually happening. Here's a teaching moment for you guys. I wanted there to be a bug here so you guys could see what was going on, so we could get into more debugging, like I said. All right, here's what's going on. We've got keys down false, right? When you press A, it becomes true. But what's actually checking here is keys down 0, right? Which is kind of just... Actually, here, let's see what's going on here. Let's show keys down. See what the heck is going on. I think what it's doing is it's adding like a fake list to this object. So it's showing, here we go. It's showing false, false, false. We start to move around. Here we go. It's adding, what it's doing is it's adding in properties called 0, 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we don't want to do that. Let's fix it. Let's pretend we wrote it from scratch. See, when we assign these properties here, keys down 0 equals false. Keys down 0 doesn't exist. It's going to make it. It's a dynamically compiled language, you guys. So if you try to do this in C++, it would get really mad at you because you're not structuring these variables and objects properly. But anyway, it works because it's freaking JavaScript, not B. So let's see what we're doing here. A, W, I always forget the order, D and S. I should have just done WASD. D and S. Let me cut out, fix the rest of this real quick. All right, looks like we got everything fixed there. And if we run this now, whoa. It's kind of working. Wait, you guys can't see. It's kind of working, not really though, because I think I got my keys out of order or something. Because right now, when I press S, I go down. When I press W, I go to the left. When I press A, I go up. When I press D, I go. Did I switch? Oh yeah, I switched A and W right here. Tell me if you guys caught it. So if you write the code wrong, your game might still work, but it might work wrong. So you might not have a bug, but it might do what you don't want it to. But anyway, this is the exact same functionality as before. Nothing's changed, but now we have everything structured here as an object, so that when we want to refer to its properties, we can do it with ease. All right. So let's move on to classes. Here's what we're going to do. Let's look at char right here, and let's kind of make this into an object very quickly. Let char position equals x. Hold on, what did I have it as before? At 0, 0. Okay. x0, y0. So now every time I have char x, I have to replace it with char position.x. And you might be thinking, why would you do this? You're adding more work. Well, don't ever be lazy as a programmer. It'll bite you in the ass later. That's all I have to say. You do more work and you put more organization into your code ahead of time. Oh my God, there's so many things I have to change here. Like if we did this ahead of time, obviously we wouldn't have to go back and fix it like this. But I want to show you the process, and as if you're learning from scratch, right? So I can make the same, I can simulate making the same mistakes as you guys alongside you. That's actually x, and there we go. And there we go. Okay. So, yep, and once again, it works the same as before. Oh, I think. Wait, what? What? Oh, I can't move. Can't move to the right, so there's something wrong with one of the x's. Oh, yep, right here. Is that fixed? Yeah, seems like it's working. So once again, just another object. Oh, where'd my screen go? What in the world? My screen disappeared. Hang on a sec, you guys. Alright, sorry about that. That was kind of weird, but I got it fixed. So we have our char position object here. Right, and it's still just an object, no class yet. So what is a class? A class is basically a way of structuring your objects. You can basically write a preset template of an object. Right, and then you don't have to make the objects over and over again. So with char position, it's like we're going to want to have other objects on the screen with their positions. So we can make a position class. Okay, so first let's make our other object on the screen. Right here we have, this is where we make our first one. And we place it and everything. So we're going to go not 90-10, but we'll do 10-10. And not character box, we're going to say ball box. So we're going to put a ball down, ball box, and let's do new icon because that's the little ball we made a couple episodes ago. And we're going to run it, and look at that. Got our ball. Of course, the ball has no functionality. Whoa. Whoa. Sorry, I dragged the wrong thing. The ball has no functionality because we didn't give it any, but it does show up right here. Alright, now if we wanted to give it functionality and give it a position and manipulate it and have it be functional the same way we're doing down here with the char position, we'd probably want to make another position object. Okay, but let's say we're doing this, and then, you know, let's say we have speed, and I don't know, we could have all kinds of properties. Look at Bezo. Bezo making an appearance. We could have all kinds of properties in here for the ball position as well as the person position. It's going to get old writing all our objects like this, right? We're going to want to make a class. So let's say class position, and you're going to capitalize it. Go ahead and bracket it out. Make a constructor to make your objects, and then we'll say x and y. And then we will say this dot x equals x, and this dot y. Oh my God, Bezo's freaking out. This dot y equals y. What's up, buddy? All right. So what it's basically going to do is constructor, right? So when you call out this function here, where you say let char position equal, and you say new position. So when you call this function new position, it's going to refer to this class you wrote, okay, and it's going to construct an object And that object is henceforth referred to as this, right? So it can refer to itself, because it doesn't, how can it refer to itself as being created into existence, right? It doesn't have a name or anything yet. But this dot x equals x, and this dot y equals y. And so all you're doing here is like, you could have something more complicated like this dot total equals x plus y, right? The difference basically is that this y is the one you're feeding in as a variable, and this y is its actual property. It might not be a one-to-one. You're assigning this constructor variable to this property. You might be doing something more complicated, but at the end of the day, this dot x is going to be like this dot x when you refer to it, char position dot x, okay? And so all we have to do is say 0, 0, and let's do it with ball position as well. New position 0, 0. And no errors because we're not doubling anything up, but if all else is equal, we should be able to, move around. So that's how you make a class to structure your objects a little better. You could theoretically make like a class for keys up and keys down and like keys, I don't know, keys that have been pressed. I don't know. You could structure all of these objects like a class if you have multiple objects that are going to follow the same structure. Does that make sense? All right. That's all we're going to do for today. We're not going to make this ball functional or anything just yet. We're nearing the end of this little basic tutorial before we start from scratch and make an actual game. So hope you guys are ready for that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it was a little longer, but yeah, like if you enjoyed it. Tell me how I'm doing in the comments, or if you're confused about anything. Subscribe and have a good day.